A great job by Kyler today. Kyler really balled out. He played well for Arizona. He was really an instrumental, a key part in why they won this game against against one of the better teams in the NFL, the Seattle Seahawks, who have Geno Smith, who obviously we all know Geno Smith is a great elite quarterback. He's won multiple Super Bowls, and I mean, Kyler Murray, he fucking did his thing today. He was elite on the ground. He was throwing it deep. He was making his reads. I mean, he really impressed me today. He honestly could be a Super Bowl caliber quarterback with the right weapons around him. Obviously, the team is young and, really up and coming, so Kyler Murray is going to be a beast in the future. I know Kyler's a bit older, he's like 26, 27, but still, he proved to me why he can not only play in this league, but play at a high level. I know, but you've been hating on him. I've opened my eyes. I've been awoken to the truth that Kyler Murray is a beast of a quarterback. And if you don't like that, you're just jealous that he makes more money than you and that he's more rich and more famous than you. Those are real things that are said in my comment section whenever I diss somebody. That you're just jealous he has more money than you. You're just jealous that he's a famous athlete. And you're a nerd, you sound like a dweeb, you sound like a 12-year-old, you're a squeaker, or whatever the fuck people say. People say stupid shit in my comments all the time. I just like to point it out because it's funny. But the people who are defending Kyler Murray, I know Kyler Murray had a great game against whatever the fuck. 17 completions in a row, like a week ago. But this is the Kyler Murray that pops up every other game. He'll have a fluke game where he'll look really good. He'll look like the best quarterback in the entire history of the National Football League. And then the next week, he goes out and has a shit game and costs his team the game. And then everything else except for Kyler Murray gets blamed. The receivers weren't open. The defense sucked. The line was horrible. The running backs fumbled. Or whatever the fuck. The running backs weren't good. Or whatever the hell. Some dumb excuse. Or the coaches weren't called the terrible game plan. Or they didn't motivate the guys enough. I don't fucking know. People make ridiculous excuses for mediocre quarterbacks. And I mean, honestly, calling Kyler Murray a mediocre quarterback is probably a fucking compliment because this guy is atrocious. He wouldn't be, I can't name one other team he'd start for. He wouldn't start for half the teams in the league. He would be a backup. He is a backup that is, masquerading as a starter. And I know, the Cardinals picked him at 1 and, paid him all that money, gave him that guaranteed contract. And they need to play him. They need to play him. Thanks, fucking car in the background. This is probably going to be in my fucking video. Shit. Fucking asshole. Anyways, Kyler is, a guy who, when you look at him, he clearly has talent. He is really fast. He's elusive. He's a modern-day dual-threat quarterback. Sometimes he can be accurate. Sometimes he can throw down the field. But that's where it ends. I'm sorry, I don't see the arm strengthening. I don't see how people think he has a strong arm. It's cream puff. The ball floats in the air. It's not a very catchable ball. It's a cream puff arm. Bad accuracy, poor decision making, and the processing. He's one of the worst processors in the history of the National Football League. If he rarely gets past his first read, and when he does, he doesn't do it quickly. By the time he's past his first read, he's already scrambling. He's already run around 3 times in the pocket looking for someone. And his pocket presence is also really lacking. I hear how people think his pocket presence is quite underrated and good, but when I'm watching him, when I'm watching the games, I see a guy who's backing up or drifting or shifting into the pressure, who will move back into the fucking pass rusher and take a sack for no reason, taking an unnecessary hit. He has a slender fucking frame. Yeah, he's built, but he's 5'9". Come on, man. He's 5'9". These edge rushers are 6'3", 6'4", 6'5", 6'6". These guys are fucking huge. If he gets hit in the wrong area, he's breaking a bunch of fucking bones. Let's be honest. If he gets hit wrong in the ribs one time, he will not play the rest of the season. That's me being that's the God honest fucking truth. All right? So he's got a slight build, even though, he's got some muscle on his frame. He's 5'9" with a cream puff arm, and all he can do is run. And he's a bad processor with mediocre at best accuracy. What else is there? Nothing other than running. He's not accurate. He's not anything. He's Kyler Murray. He's literally just Kyler Murray. He's not anyone special. He never will be anyone special. He will just be himself, and by being himself, he will always be a terrible quarterback. He will never win a Super Bowl. He might not win a playoff game. Oh, but the Cardinals are in a playoff position. I don't give a fuck. If they make the playoffs, they're going to have to face a fucking team. They're going to have to face a real team that knows what the fuck they're doing. Do you think that a defense is in the playoffs is going to let this guy run all over him and throw all over him? No. He might not throw for 150 yards the whole game. That's how it is. That's the story of Kyler Murray's career. Great against terrible teams. Good, decent against mad teams. Shit against the best teams. shit against the best defenses. I'm not even saying that Seattle is good. Seattle is a fucking mediocre 500 team with a terrible quarterback who will not go anywhere. Geno Smith will not win a playoff game in his career either. So you had two non-playoff winner quarterbacks playing each other because neither of these guys will win a playoff game. You might as well throw in, like you might as well throw in, I don't fucking know. I don't even know. I know the backup for Seattle, Sam Howell. I think Clayton Tune would be worse than Kyler Murray. Clayton Tune would be fucking way worse. Trust me. He would be... Clayton Tune is a fucking downgrade. Like, Clayton Tune... I mean, at least Kyler Murray can run. Clayton Tune can't. Clayton Tune is just Clayton Tune. So you're fucked. You have no backup. You don't have anyone else to go to in a big game. So you just gotta trot Kyler out there and pray to God that he plays good. And when you have to pray to get lucky that this guy plays good, that's not a dependable, reliable quarterback in the NFL. I'm sorry. But, I take Bryce Young over Kyler Murray. Give me Bryce Young, because at least Bryce Young played well. Bryce Young played well. He played well enough to win against one of the league's best defenses. Kyler Murray, if you put Kyler Murray against that same Chiefs defense, he's throwing 4 interceptions. I guarantee you he's throwing 4 or 5 interceptions. And maybe even he might have 6 turnovers in that game. If he was facing the Chiefs tonight, it would have been a murder. It would have been a massacre. But, Bryce Young, he looked okay. He played well enough to win. He did the things that he needed to do to keep the Panthers in the game when it looked really bleak. So, shout out to fucking Bryce Young. But Kyler Murray is a fucking dwarf, and he sucks. And I know Bryce Young is a fucking dwarf, but at least Bryce Young proved that he can play decent against a good fucking team. Kyler Murray, I can't point to one performance in his career where he's played well against a really good team. Can't name one. Oh, but what about the one time in 2021 where, oh my God, they were really good. They started off on a really good start, and then they fucking lost to the Packers with Aaron Rodgers, who's a career loser with 1 ring in 30 fucking years in the NFL. Aaron Rodgers, the biggest crybaby in the history of the NFL. Wow, congratulations. Congrats, we lost to Aaron Rodgers. That's even more embarrassing than losing to fucking Geno Smith. So, I don't really give a shit. Kyler Murray's horrible. This guy's not an NFL quarterback. You can't really turn to Clayton Tune because Clayton Tune is even worse. So just stick it with Kyler and pick a quarterback. That's my recommendation. He had 1 good game this season, and people were swindled into believing that he's breaking out. Oh my God, he's a top quarterback in the NFC Conference or in the NFL. He's not a top anything. Even if you put him at wide receiver or running back, he wouldn't be a top 50 running back. I'm done with this video. Thank you all for watching. This has been Mr. Truth, and this was nothing but the truth.